Hi folks, this is all the fruit, and here I'm in the Botanic Garden of the University of Malaga in Spain. Do I have to be that precise? Yes, because in the city of Malaga there are several botanic gardens. The one at the university is the smallest I've seen so far, but it's packed to the brim with subtropical fruit trees, folks, so stay with me. This video is gonna get a little bit longer. Well, funny, the department of botany seems to consist of old containers. I wonder how people work here in the hot Andalusian summers. Well, they use myrtle for hedges, a nice plant with aromatic edible fruit, but not in season right now. Here we have a sapote. Which is it? They say Casimiroa edulis, but I'm not completely sure. Well, actually, yes, this could be edulis, but couldn't it also be a hybrid with Tetrameria? It looks a bit like edulis, a bit like Tetrameria. What do you think, folks? Which white sapote is this? Behind it, a mango, one of the three major cash crops of the Costa del Sol, the area around Malaga. A very new cash crop, but a promising one, is the star fruit, Averoa carambola. Well, in winter it bears fruit when it's covered with plastic nets. This one here is outdoors, but it has one little fruit here. So yeah, you can grow mango, star fruit and white sapote on the European continent. Another thing that grows surprisingly well here are macadamia nuts. The old ones still on the tree, well, right now falling down, and the new flowers already appearing. Beautiful. Another fruit tree you might not expect here is the longan. Yeah, typical fruit tree of Southeast Asia and southern China. Flowering now. At the top, where the students cannot reach, there are still a couple old fruit from last year. And somewhere I saw one which still looks edible. Yeah, I think this fruit here could still be edible. What have we got here? Cannot even recognize this. Ah, a pecan, but in this case, not a single nut hanging on it anymore. Here we have, this is Brazilian lime. This is not the lime we are all familiar with, or at least most caipirinha loving people in temperate western countries are familiar with. As you can see, the shape of those limes is completely different. They are like if you took a lemon and hit it with a hammer, and then after that you took the little lemon tip and pulled it out again. The funny thing is, they are not really sour. They taste very bland, but they are still supposed to be quite rich in vitamin C, so they are given to sick people and little children and so on, who need the healthy vitamins of a citrus fruit, but not necessarily the sour taste on their sore throat. So yeah, quite an unusual lime, but you find it from time to time on the Iberian Peninsula. Here a couple more fruit trees. The guava is quite a characteristic fruit tree around here. Sorry for the noise, folks. I think either it's a political thing or maybe some Turkish marriage or whatever. Well, the guava, Psyllium guayaba, it's quite a normal fruit in Andalusian gardens. I haven't seen a lot of big plantations. It's mostly being traded locally or eaten by the people who grow it. But it's a fruit which is pretty common here in the area. Guavas on the European continent. Here, the Sapote Chico or Sapodia, another fruit tree that grows surprisingly well here. I don't know why I haven't seen commercial plantations. This stuff is tasty and they could have plantations here. It's also doing quite well during transport, so you can make it into a nice cash crop. Yeah, don't know why I see it quite rarely and mostly in private gardens. Yeah, baobabs also grow surprisingly well here. This baobab is still quite young and spindly. Here we have a loquat. This has become very typical of a very typical fruit of Spain and the entire Mediterranean. There are a couple of small plantations here, but because it's quite frost hardy, you don't really need to grow it in the Costa del Sol. There are a lot of other areas which compete with this area for loquat production, so it's not as lucrative here as mangoes or chirimoyas. It almost looks, if we were in Germany, I would say it looks like it's froze, like the flowers froze off, because look at the inflorescences. They look like inflorescences in Germany, like most of them look frozen, and here and there you can see a single fruit. But it cannot be frost here because, for example, right next to it there is the black sapote. Not related to the normal sapotes. This is an Ebeneshi. It's actually related to the kaki. And yeah, I think people have been busy harvesting the black sapotes. But here there is still one. Why they are called black sapotes when they are green? Well, they are also called the chocolate pudding fruit because the inside looks like mousse au chocolat. Well, here a slightly thicker baobab. I don't know, I think they started growing them here quite recently. I hope in a couple years or decades they'll have a lot of nice fat baobabs around here. Well, here a small bonsai landscape. Yeah, I think the boss of the department, or one of the bosses of the department, is Japanese. So yeah, they seem to like little bonsai things. Beautiful. I like that too. Pyrus Borgiana. Well, this seems to be a local pear, which is quite... Yeah, it seems to be quite widespread on the Iberian Peninsula. I think I already saw it a couple times. It's funny to see a pear here among guavas and mangoes and baobabs. Grafted on a quince, as I see. So if you think, now that we've finished with the fruit tree department, we have finished with the interesting part of the Botanic Garden, you will be totally wrong. Because there are lots of other fruit trees scattered throughout the Botanic Garden. Most of them are absent in the fruit department. Insect hotels. What is this? Is this a Sphatodea? Oh yeah, this is a Sphatodea, an African tulip tree, but looking quite bad right now. Yeah, lots of nice flowering plants. Here we have an interesting fruit tree. Carissa macrocarpa. Here they call it the Natal cherry. It's also being called the Natal plum, the Kaffir plum, the large nam nam. It's also growing in a couple parks around here where I've already harvested it. Here a Brazilian pepper tree. What is this? Pistachia lentiscus. Oh yeah, but this is sick, folks. Those are sick leaves. Well, Pistachia lentiscus, the mastics. If you know the word masticate, the stuff you masticate is the sap of the mastics. Yeah, but this one doesn't seem to have enough for mastication, so we'll leave the mastics alone. A jujube, Sisyphus jujuba. Oh, I've already left a lot of fruit trees behind. I have to double back later because there is very interesting stuff behind me already. Pomegranate, very traditional for this area. Oh, here the African wood sorrel. It's also edible. Here we have the Mumbin Plum, the red one, I guess, although I saw labels in other botanic gardens that they have the yellow one, but I think it was always the red one. Oh wait, this is Herpephyllum caffrum. Now I'm kind of confused, folks. Yeah, I think this is Herpephyllum caffrum. Yes. But I'm quite confused because in another botanic garden this same tree had the label yellow Mumbin Plum. Very strange. Well, let's see what else we got here. No fruit trees here. I'm trying to keep it a little bit short, so I'll concentrate on the fruit trees. Harpulia pendula. There was something edible about this one too. Here we have a silverberry. They should be in season right now, but I don't see a single fruit. I saw fruits on other silverberry shrubs around here. Oh yeah, they have a couple ice cream beans here, and as you can see, they are in season, folks. Look at that. Dozens, maybe even hundreds of big ice cream bean pots hanging here. Ain't it amazing? You can harvest ice cream bean on the European continent. Let's see what this thing is here. It looks like some pear. Oh, again the Pyrus burgeiana. They are really fond of this pear. I've seen it in pretty much every botanic garden around here. Seems to be another pomegranate. So berries. Here we have a succulent department on a dry slope. Well, normally there would be a lot of interesting fruits here, but since it's the end of March, not a lot of interesting cactus fruits, so I'm not gonna go up there. Here is another silverberry. Here they call it Eleagnus ex submacrophylla. And no, those are no silverberries, those are soap berries from the tree above it. Silverberries should be more elongated, and I don't see a single one here. What we've got here, is this a Maclura? This looks almost like a Maclura pomifera. Oh no, Bauhinia fortificata, I don't even know the species. And this here could be a very bad looking avocado, but I'm not sure. But here we had some other fruit tree. Let's see what it is. Looks like some ornamental apple, like the one they used to plant everywhere in Bulgaria, with the beautiful red flowers and the beautiful little dark red fruits. Here once again the succulent section. In front the non-edible spurges, behind them the edible cacti. Here a carob, a very important fruit tree in the area for thousands of years. And it seemed for some time that it's gonna be on the decline, but now it's on the rise again, so folks, carob is big business now. Here another sapote. Let's look at it. Well, this looks a bit more like Edulis. Yeah, I could rather believe that this is Edulis. Little fruit. Usually you see one or two out of season fruit hanging on the trees, which are already big and can be harvested, but I don't see a single one here. What have we got here? Don't even know the name of this one. platanus, yeah. Quercus, the typical tree of the Mediterranean, a very important fruit or nut tree because the acorns, without those acorns, the expensive Spanish ham wouldn't exist because the little black pigs, they have to go to the forest and forage for those acorns. A nice little ficus collection. And here in between, actually, the fig that we know from the Mediterranean is a very untypical fig. It's deciduous, and even its growth habit is so much different from most of the other several hundred fig species. A nice palm collection. Of course, they grow well in this climate. They have maybe a dozen or two of palm trees. Oh, and here finally, for the people who comment, who are trying to recognize Ravenala from Estrellizia, this is Ravenala Madascariensis. It doesn't grow too well in Europe, but here it grows. And this is Estrellizia Nicolai. Estrellizia Nicolai has smaller inflorescences, smaller flowers. They are more asymmetrical, as you can see here. All the flowers grow to one side. Also the leaf sheets, they look a little bit less regular. Well, Ravenala, oh, the guard is already watching me. How am I gonna steal fruits here, folks? Ravenala Madascariensis, it has very symmetrical, very geometrical leaf, how shall I say, leaf arrangement. And when you look, from here it's a bit difficult. You have to go to the other side again. Now I have to film and also look out for the guard. Oh my. When you look at the inflorescences, they're also a bit more symmetrical. The big sheets, they grow in both directions. So here again, folks, Ravenala Madascariensis, which in the tropics will be a lot bigger and more lush. And here Estrellizia Nicolai. This is also a small specimen or a young specimen. In the parks of Malaga, you can find them. Some are above 8 to 10 meters tall. There is interesting stuff over there, but there is also interesting stuff over there. Where shall we go first? Well, let's see. A Conifer Collection. If you think conifers are not interesting for foraging, think again. Conifers are actually very important trees for fruits and even much more important for nuts. Here we have the European stone pine, Pinus pinea, Pinus pinea. This has actually been a very important nut tree in the Mediterranean for thousands of years, and if you look at the prices of the nuts, you will see that it still is. Here we have a bunya pine, very interesting fruit tree, a very interesting nut tree, very important to the culture of some Aboriginal nations in Australia. Here we have one which is old enough to have cones, but it's also low enough, and also I'm standing on an elevated terrace, so I can try to show you a couple things. Here in the foreground you see the male inflorescences. On the ground you see a freshly fallen cone, probably in the last days. Oh, the guard is still around me. They know who's coming, folks. They know who's coming, but they still don't know what's coming at them. Well, and at the very top you can see a couple pretty small cones. Those are, I would say each cone is 1 to 1.5 kilograms. They can get 20 times as big as this. But even though the cones are small, the scales on the ground look like they could house edible nuts. Here, by the way, Monstera deliciosa. I think somewhere in the background I saw the Japanese plum yew and also the normal yew. Two conifers which are not being used for their nuts. Actually, the Japanese plum yew, I'm not sure if I'm saying something wrong. The nuts might be edible, but don't quote me on that. They could also be deadly. The nuts of the seeds of the normal yew are deadly. Well, there is definitely some yew in the background, which has edible fruits and maybe toxic seeds. Here the Conifer Collection, another very toxic group which is closely related to the conifers, but which are still very important for their fruits. Well, you cannot say fruits with conifers. Actually, even with the yew you cannot say fruits, despite the fact that one is called the plum yew. Well, conifers have edible layers around their seeds, and Sucadaceae, some of them, the bread ferns, have more or less edible layers around their seeds, and the stem can be used to make bread and to get starch. Well, all those Agavaceae and stuff like that, they are not so much used for their fruits. The fruits are edible, but not very good. Also, the flowers are edible, but mostly they are being used for the big buds, which you can use to make sugar or tequila or things like that. Well, here are the aloes. We found out that the aloe leaves are also edible if you do them right. But the aloe fruits, here are actually a couple. I think they might be edible, but they might not add a lot of value. Here, the only palm native to the European continent, Chamaerops humilis. Yeah, the gourd is still around me. And keeping a close eye. Yeah, Chamaerops humilis. The palm fruits are not the best, but they are kind of edible. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, here we have a couple more fruit trees. Folks, I hope you are staying with me because there is more interesting stuff coming. Bananas. Those look like topocho bananas. Quite small and puny for topochos. And I don't see... no, I don't see a single banana bunch here. Yeah, I think the pseudostems have to get a little bit bigger before they produce banana bunches. Here at Chirimoya, together with mango and avocado, this is one of the three main cash crops of the area. Berberis Thunbergia, yeah, also edible fruits. Let's see what else we have here. Always staying around me. This guy knows his job, folks. Maybe they have warned him of me. People start warning people about me once I approach an area of the world. Well, a lily pilly. Wonderful fruit tree. Here they call it Shrub Cherry as far as I know, yeah? Cereso arbustivo, Shrub Cherry. Well, it's a good name for the plant. I was a little bit confused of the fruit lying beneath it, but I think that some birds, actually maybe birds, maybe even people, forage the fruit of the dwarf palm. So you can see there are also a lot of fruit of the dwarf palm lying on the ground. They forage those fruits and they seem to eat some of them on this lily pilly. Let's see what else we have here. This looks like a mock lime, Moriah Panicolata. Yes, I think this is a mock lime. Well, it has fruits that look like small little limes, small little red limes. And there are small little red lime-like fruits which are edible and tasty, but not the ones of the mock lime. They just look like they're edible and tasty. Let's see what else we've got here. There are a couple more things. Well, now we start following him. I think it's gonna be more fun. Well, down here we have a Bella Sombra or ombu tree. The fruit look edible but are not. However, the dragon fruit cactus growing as a vine on this ombu tree has edible fruit, but you have to hand pollinate them here in this climate in order to get decent fruits. Oh, there is stuff down there which I haven't seen yet, which seems to be interesting. So, what have we got here? There is the other Inga tree. here is sausage tree. I had forgotten whether the sausage trees actually produce sausages in Europe. I mean, they have those long inflorescences, the flowers, and later the sausages, they hang on those here. And I didn't know if the climate is bad, if the pollinators are lacking, or if they are just out of season. But here you see a little sausage. They can get 20 times the size of this one, but at least there is proof that you can get sausages here. I remember in the Botanic Garden, where was it? In Marburg, I think. We never got sausages in the greenhouse, and the gardener said it's probably because of pollination issues. They wanted to try hand pollination, so I don't know. Maybe they are lacking the proper... I think it's being pollinated by bats. So who did pollinate this one here? Very strange. Well, here we are back at the fruit section. Well, let's go down here. I saw a couple interesting things from afar. Maybe they will be just as interesting from nearby. Couple different kurajong species, very important bush tucker in Australia. This stuff will give you food and water, but if you make a mistake, you know how it is in Australia, everything is out to kill you. And if you think by everything they mean just the animals, no, the plants, even the fruits are just as dangerous. You see the tasty seeds surrounded by this yellow powder? Well, those seeds are enclosed in those brown, thin brown sheets, and those thin brown sheets are inside the fruit. And those thin brown sheets and the inside of the fruit, they are coated with horrible, horrible little hairs, which can give you a horrible itch on your skin. They can make you throw away your clothes and run away naked, and they can also make you blind. Is this an acerola? This could be an acerola. Quite an old plant too. Let's see if this is an acerola. No. Well, I've seen acerolas on the European continent, but this seems to be a hibiscus schizopetalos. Well, you can eat all the hibiscus flowers and fruits, and sometimes even the leaves. Hibiscus are very nice plants for foraging. Yeah. Here, for example, this one, this hibiscus relative. I think this was a Butylon theophrasti or something like that. The Chinese children, they like to eat the fruit. Yeah, nice stuff for foraging. Couple more hibiscus relatives. Yeah, those are quite good. Those are quite good for foraging. Most of them will not give you an excessive amount of calories, but they will still be quite useful. They'll give you a lot of taste and color to your food. Well, Bombacacea, they also have edible fruits. Yep. And here, probably last but definitely not least, we have a strawberry tree. Strawberry tree, or madroño in Spanish. The capital Madrid is named after this tree. It's actually an important wild fruit tree in the Mediterranean. The fruit might not be the tastiest ones, but they are one of the few fruits you will find in the middle of summer in natural habitats in the driest parts of the Mediterranean. Arbutus onedo. It's called onedo because they say you will eat only one, or I will eat only one. But actually, whenever I can get my hands on this, I'm eating a lot of handfuls. So folks, this was the University Botanic Garden of Malaga. Beautiful small botanic garden, but with a lot of fruit trees. Stay tuned for a lot more fruit videos from the beautiful University Botanic Garden of Malaga, with the guards still around me. And don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe.